Hello, this is Maxine Engwall. I'm looking forward to spending some pleasant time with you today. Well, that is, if you want to go back with me to the time when I interviewed well-known people and personalities. One of my favorites was Bob Lertzman. Just a lovable fellow, often described as an ambassador of goodwill and kindness. A favorite saying of Bob's was, if you give 100% in what you do, you'll never lose. Bob played defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings football team. He joined them in 1972, and that's when he got that nickname Benchwarmer, and he will tell us more about that.
We're all familiar with your Benchwarmer Bob nickname. Would you want to just tell our audience the story you told the kids at the mic here? I thought that was clever, what a bench warmer is.
What a professional bench warmer is, you bet. I asked the children out there, I said, do you really know what a professional bench warmer is? We got some cute answers, of course. Then I finally gave them, I said, remember this is the greatest thing you have to learn in life. A professional bench warmer is a person who is not good enough to be a player, but not bad enough to be a fan.
He also played for the New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks. And starting out in our interview, he's going to give us some personal background information.
Maxine Engwall back with my guest, Bob Lertzman. Bob, where were you born?
I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
You grew up there?
Right. And
graduated from high school?
Yeah, Ottawa Hills High School in Grand Rapids. And a lot of people don't know, Max, that my father graduated with Gerald Ford, President Ford.
Well,
now, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, I want you to know that. I'm just an independent, don't take the side one way or the other. But when he was president, they had a brunch out at the White House, and he brought the football team out, the 1930 football team from Michigan. And my father went out there with my mom and had brunch at the White House.
Oh,
so that was
quite a thrill.
Yeah, it was very, very unique for my dad. But Grand Rapids, Michigan, and
your parents
Midwest.
Are still living?
Yes,
I'm
very blessed
in
there.
Michigan.
Yes.
And I was going to ask you who you thought was the biggest influence in your life, your mother or your father, but your father being a football player, I guess it's kind of obvious there.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious with himself playing. He played 3 years of semi-pro ball, but he never asked me to play football. And I did it because I actually took a love for football because I went to college on a basketball scholarship. And my freshman year in college, I did not play football. I didn't really like it. I played in high school because, ugly as I am, I had a chance to get a date, so it worked out well. But I skipped my freshman year, realized I loved the game, and I came back my sophomore year and I played both sports. But I was on a basketball scholarship.
Well, before we go any further, I have to correct that statement about you're ugly. You really are a very handsome man, and you are big. I'm sitting here beside you. I realize that you're very tall, and have you kept your weight pretty much the same now, or?
Well, see, I'm 6'6", and right now I'm 249, and I played, at one time I was up as high as 268, but I do watch my weight. I work out every day at the decathlon club before I go to work, and if I do put on a few extra pounds, I go on a quick one-day diet, and with me being so large, it's nothing for me to drop 7 to 10 pounds over a 2-day period, but the percent is obviously not that large a percent.
But you do have a regular exercise program that you follow.
Definitely. Plus, I'm anti-smoker.
Bob really loved being with youngsters, and he had a good relationship with them, and he gives them some very good advice about the use of drugs.
I'm lucky. My job dictates having a fun time in life. And
well,
I'm very,
I can
very
tell
lucky.
that you enjoy what you're doing. Here today, you had all of those kids crowded around you, and they really love you, and you're very patient with them, and
they're neat.
You didn't hesitate standing there a long time longer than you were scheduled for doing autographs.
Oh, yeah, but the fun part of working with the kids today, and it was that one came in a Los Angeles Rams jersey. I harassed him. It was fun. One came in Kansas City Chiefs jersey. Did not know who I was because he's from Missouri. So that went over real cute. And then we had the New York Mets, the whole works. And once you do a play off the kids and what they do, they're so honest with you. They're easy to work with. And I think the drug aspect, I'm very, very, very anti-drug. And I do a lot of talking throughout the Twin City areas to different children, different father-son groups. And it's the message I leave with the kids, other than giving 100% and feel good about yourself, because there's nothing wrong with losing as long as you gave it the best to your ability. And they put down losing all the time. I think it's unfair. winning is the icing on the cake, but once you quit on yourself, then you're a loser. And I tie that in with the aspect of commitment to yourself, and then the drug aspect of it is I merely say that the reason I never tried it, because it could be a great high, Maxine. It's got to be. They go back to it all the time, which I think it's a terrible disease. And the reason I've never tried it, I've always said to myself, what if I like it? And I tell the kids the same thing, because I can't go on and give them a big lecture how bad it could be for them and this and that. I just merely say, what if you like it? Because when they're approached at 9, 10, 11 years old, once they realize, if they might like it and could go overboard, they have an opportunity to say no at that time.
He also spoke about the National Football League spoiled athletes and the way the game is played today, and it really disgusted him.
When you say it's nice to get your message across, it's a shame you can't get the message across to more people, and the National Football League cannot get the message across to all these kids, because I am absolutely fed up with the National Football League and all the professional athletes, and this can go over to baseball and basketball, that they give them second and third time on this drug situation. I firmly believe in my heart there's no second chance. If you get caught with drugs, you're out of the league. Give them 6 months or something to say, we're going to test you from that day on. We want to test you every day. That's fine. And these spoiled athletes out there that are on drugs say, you can't infringe on my rights. Listen, when you touch drugs, you lose your rights. And also, I think with a commitment there that the kids at what we said earlier, 9, 10, 11, say, hey, if I try drugs, I'll never be a professional athlete. That forces them once again to say no, because they have a commitment to the public. Professional athletes do.
You're right.
And they are professionals now. They have a choice. I will be a professional football player, or I will turn to drugs. That is their decision.
Now Bob's going to tell us about what he did after high school and after he finished college. And he has a really cute story to tell us about how he met his sweet wife, Eloise.
Right. I graduated from Western Michigan, and I was 1 year at Michigan Tech, and I have an engineering degree in mechanical. And as I mentioned earlier, I went through on a basketball scholarship, playing football just for kicks. And I played 1 year of baseball, but I don't have the greatest eyes in the world, and I batted about 188, and a good glove, but I couldn't hit. And the hits I got, they always hit a stone, bounced over the guy's head. It was those type of hits. So I dropped baseball immediately.
Someplace along the line, you did meet your lovely wife. And is your story about that meeting, how your courtship started?
Yeah, that was, she's a beautiful gal. And we were, when I was at Western Michigan, we went to Rooster Tail. And it's like a McDonald's, a Rooster Tail, and everybody took off like McDonald's. But she went through the line, and she got in her car, and I thought, wow, I said, this is really a neat gal. So I went over to her, and I said, ma'am, I was on crutches at the time because I had hurt my knee during football practice.
Well, that's good. There was a little sympathy there. You could.
No, there wasn't. No, she could care less about me being hurt, and she never heard of football. But I told her that she was shortchanged a penny, and I gave her the penny back. I said, they wanted me to give this back to you. They felt guilty you were shortchanged a penny. And she bluntly said, no, I wasn't. I count my change every time. Now and she's that type of person, too, so I know.
But it was a good try.
Yeah, I gave her my best shot, and then we talked for a couple of minutes, and then she said I could call her. And our first date went to the library.
How long was the romance before you were married?
Well, we were engaged about 6 months later, and then we wed about probably 10 months later.
And that's why you were in college. Well, then after college, I know you did play football with the New York Giants.
Right.
How long?
Well, I was with the New York Giants. As a matter of fact, Max, they were so bad I was a regular. They were a struggling team. And but I started with the Baltimore Colts in '66 on a taxi squad, which is not written up very much. 5 years with the New York Giants, then 5 years with the Minnesota Vikings, and lucky enough 2 Super Bowls, and then 2 years with the Seattle Seahawks. And I was involved in that Armand Rashad trade. And I always kid Mike Lynn. I said, Mike, I saved your job. One of the best trades they ever made, right? But it worked out well for me, too.
He had a lot of memories of those Minnesota Viking football days, and some of his teammates were Carl Elder, Jim Marshall, Alan Page, Fran Tarkington, just to name a few.
Well, I got umpteen million stories. It's really a great life, and all the things that people hear about how great it is to play in the National Football League, just multiply them by 10. I mean, that's how good they truly are. But some of the memories I had, my greatest thrill, of course, was sacking Terry Bradshaw in Super Bowl number 9, the first play I was in 1975, for number 75. Was a quarterback sack, but that's what I like. But some of the funnier things, like when I tackled Bill Munson of the Detroit Lions, he was a quarterback. The first play I was in against the Lions, sacking Munson, we got up and he looked me right in the eyes, and these are his exact words on at the old Met. He looked me in the eyes and said, "My gosh, are we that far behind already?"
Great.
So he laid me out real good there. And then, of course, in Super Bowl number 9, I had the opportunity, along with Alan Page and Wally Hildenberg and myself, the three of us, we threw water on Howard Cosell.
Oh, fantastic.
He was interviewing Tarkington, and we went over right behind him. We threw the water.
Oh, great.
And Fran jumped back because he didn't want to get wet. He could see the water coming down.
Oh, yeah.
And Howard turned to see what was going on, and we caught him perfect. We moved his toupee 2 inches back. And I always tell people that's the greatest thrill of my professional career.
I had asked him some of his favorite things to do, and he's going to tell us about some of those things now.
Well, obviously being a sportsman, I really enjoy the hunting and the fishing aspect of Minnesota, and I'm from, as we mentioned earlier, the Midwest, being from Michigan. And I enjoy reading, but also the theater and the arts. There's so many things going on in the Twin City area that, like the Carlton Celebrity Room. They're bringing the major events down there at the Chanhassen Theater. I've seen all those plays down there, and I enjoy just doing different things that kind of break the routine. I'm not a big moviegoer. I do go on occasion, but there's just too many things going on in the Twin City area.
But we really are in a good location, aren't we? I can tell you love the Twin Cities area, and we do. We have the best of two worlds. We have a delightful small town living here, Hutchinson, about 10,000 people, and then if we want to sneak in and see some of the things you just mentioned, we're 45 minutes, an hour away.
Bob had a career after he retired from football doing television commercials.
That's when the TCF days came, Twin City Federal. You did some great advertising for them, and that association lasted quite a while.
Right, it lasted 13 years, and after the 13 years, they went to a bank, from a savings and loan to a bank, and now, of course, you can buy the stock over the New York Stock Exchange. So they really expanded, so they basically had no need for me at that time, although there's a chance they might need me again, and I think we mentioned a little bit about it, but CDP, copy duplicating products.
That's what I was going to say, Bob. You bounced right back on the playing field.
Yeah.
I wanted to get that in.
Yeah, with John Malinsky, I also know him as well, before we signed the contract, and when Twin City Federal released me, I had 5 different people bidding for my services. Because,
I'm not surprised at that.
Well, but see, the part that works out locally is that to be exclusive. In other words, exclusivity means you can do commercials for just one product.
Right.
That way you're a walking billboard. Rather than if I did commercials for 4 different products, it actually lessens your impact on what you're doing. And John wanted the credibility aspect of it, and I was very appreciative that he felt that way about me.
Do you have a favorite one, by the way?
With CDP, I do. There's one that we do a takeoff on Mean Joe Green on the Coca-Cola ad, where Mean Joe Green chugs a Coke and throws his jersey to a little kid. That was a national award winner. So we did the same thing in 10 seconds. I was drinking an orange, so we made sure it was not associated with Coke or Pepsi. And I had the dirt on and the jersey over my shoulder pads, and I get done drinking the orange, and I look at the kid, I say, "Hey kid, catch." And I throw my jersey, and he throws the jersey right back at me as fast as I threw it to him. And then we come out of it, and I do, of course, one of my goofy looks on it. And I kind of laugh at that one, because that's probably what would happen to me anyways. So that's the one I like the best of there.
And I think you will enjoy seeing the one that was done at the old Met for Bob Lertzman Day.
I've always hoped that someday they'd have a Bob Lertzman Day. You know, like they have for all the superstars. Well, it finally came true. I may not be a superstar, but I'm a super saver at TCF. I sure like the help I get from those Twin City Federal folks. So thank you, TCF, for helping me save and making Bob Lertzman Day possible. At least you'd think my wife and kids would show up.
He also was on the Johnny Carson show, and I know you will enjoy that video.
New York Giants, Bob Lertzman, Roland Lakes, Jim Pyle.
Would you welcome these defensive stars from the New York Giants? Did you ever play basketball, Bob, at 6'6"?
Yes, I did. I went through college, as a matter of fact, on basketball scholarship.
Somebody told me, I didn't know this. Hey, that was a squeaker, incidentally. Saturday. Don't do too many more of those games, those one-point games, and pull them out like that. 20-21, right?
Right. We thought about it, and if you win every game, seriously, by large margins,
right,
the fans, they kind of lay off you, don't follow you as much. You want to give
You're trying to tell me it's all pre-planned, just pull it out.
Well, my father is actually a doctor, and he does a lot of cardiogram work, and so we brought him in.
Well, you keep doing that, Webster's going to be one of his patients. Very quickly. Somebody told you you had an engineering degree, or you studied engineering at one time?
Mechanical engineering, yes.
Is that what you plan to do after the pro football is over?
I'm not too sure. Football spoils you. It's 8 to 5. After playing football, it doesn't sound good at all.
You guys ever worried about getting hurt when you go out, or can you worry about that at all and really play the kind of game you want? Because you are on the end where so many guys end up with knee injuries, muscle injuries.
Actually, it's worse walking in New York City. There's more chance for an injury there.
Yeah, well, I'll buy that.
That's terrible.
But you never really consider it when you go out to play?
No, I think if you worried about injury, seriously, before you went out in the field, you wouldn't go out in the field.
Right.
You really wouldn't, because anytime you're leery of being hurt, if you're afraid somebody's going to clip you or take your knee out with you, you won't play aggressively and play your type of ball.
Right. You guys go through a lot of preseason training that the average person doesn't know anything about. They only see the games you play every Sunday, and they think that's about it. But the training schedule is tremendously intensive, and they really work you, don't they? You keep in shape during the summer also when you come to training camp?
Yes.
You're in pretty good shape? Or split city, huh? We got a few things set up over. How much time do we have in this segment? Can we... Ed, you want to get in this? Why don't you come on over? I'd like to... You're big. Yeah.
First of all, we want you to join us over there when we do the calisthenics, and we brought a jersey for you. And I know that, since you just got recently divorced, so we know you are young, right? Younger than he's ever been, so we want you to wear this jersey here.
Thought that number had been retired. All righty. You clowns. You'll pay for this. Hey, that's just my size.
Here's your tailor, Johnny.
All right, men.
Most of the time, when you first start out, you just got to stretch, get your groins and stuff pulled. Right. So actually, you do, Johnny, as far as you can, stretch out. It's like 11:30 exercise.
Oh, I can do that, all right.
This is the easy one, all right? You got to do both sides, because we don't want you injured here at all. All right? Okay. Now, Roland, I'll show you the duck walk, and this is to do a little more stretching the muscles. Roland,
John, this is an exercise that was introduced to the 49ers by Ernie Zawala, who's coaching at Houston now. And it's basically to strengthen the leg muscles, particularly in the thigh. Right. Now, what you do is spread your feet about shoulder width apart, get in a squatting position, bring your arms up.
Yeah.
Squat like How do you do that back and forth across the field?
Grown man has to do that.
Swing out, yeah. Swing out.
And while the opponents are laughing themselves silly, you cut with the ball. All righty.
Now we have what we call a figure 8 drill, Johnny. This is real easy. Guys, go home with that for me. I want you to follow me, because when you go through it, you're going to take my place in this drill.
Okay.
All right? You want to step back a little bit?
Sure.
All right.
Way back.
Real easily done, now. And you're going to take over my spot, remember?
Right.
All right? Go. Get up. Go. Okay, stop. Remember, you're going to roll first, Johnny. You roll first.
Then get up and leap over the
I
net.
go this way first.
Yeah.
Now, I go over you, or are you going under? I go under. Just all right.
Go! Go! Get up! Get up!
about
We'll get him in the next
practice.
one. We'll get him in the next series. What are we going to do here with the tires? You're getting on this.
I'm doing this. Right?
Yeah.
This is Jim one.
Okay. All right, Jim.
Maybe. All right, this is kind of like the rope. This is the figure to fix
Right behind you.
Okay. Don't yell at me when I'm working.
Okay. You want to get the football there? I know all these technical terms.
Jim's going to show you the proper tackling technique. Rolling right up on the mat there. Yeah. Right. You're good. He'll explain it to you as he goes through it.
You have to keep your head up and make sure that you get your body into the man. You're not going to tackle it just with your arms, but mostly your body, and you have to keep your head up and drive it to the side of the ball carrier, like imagine he was carrying the ball there. Right. You have to get your feet down low and keep them under so you can drive with your legs. When you hit like that. Oh. Your legs, so when you hit, you can't just stop. You have to drive.
What do you weigh again, Ron?
268.
268.
Right.
That's over 100 pounds. More than I weigh.
You got to put all your body in there.
What?
Put
all the body in there.
All the body.
With shoulder.
The head. Either shoulder.
Remember to drive with your legs now. That's
Drive with my legs.
Don't worry about getting hurt.
Roland Tanker. Again with Jim. Thank you, guys.
There's just going to be some miscellaneous comments from Lertz.
It was a lot different, Max, the athlete of today as compared to the Vikings of old, basically. And I said athlete, I actually mean all the athletes now, because they have changed. It's a big business now, where when we played back in the 70s, we played for the love of the game. There was not a lot of money around. We made good money, but it wasn't great money. But we had a closeness that we were all in the same boat together. And also we felt that it was an honor and a privilege to be able to play in the National Football League and to be able to represent the great fans in the state of Minnesota. And we would, after a ball game, we'd love to go out and go to all the tailgate parties, and we'd bounce around from tailgate party to tailgate party, meeting all the people here. And it was a unique closeness, and it was real. It wasn't put on. No. It wasn't artificial.
Too bad it couldn't be that way today. Because, as you say, it's changed, and it's too bad.
Right. Well, you're right. When that dome said, no tailgating. Sometimes, believe it or not, the football game is secondary. And I think sometimes the business people don't realize that you should ask the fan once in a while what he likes, because they're the ones that are paying the bills. Price of commercials go up. That means the cost of the merchandise that they're advertising goes up. And one thing that was directly related to the Vikings during the old days when they went to the Met, you at least had a chance to see your best friends 10 times a year.
Right.
And life goes by so fast. In other words, at 9 o'clock Sunday morning, you better be underneath the Cleveland Indian sign with your baked beans, or you were in trouble, no matter how late you were out the night before. And that forced a good time, and it forced you to get together. And I think at the age that both of us are at, we realize how fast life flies by.
Does.
And this did force the situation where you saw your best friends.
Thank goodness for those wonderful memories.
It was really nice to share those with us. You could tell that Bob Lertzman had a really lovely life, and he did like to see people have a good time. There were some stories circulating around that Lertz really liked fast cars. And something else you might enjoy knowing is he owned horses, and they were housed in a stable out here in Hutchinson at one time.
Yeah, well.
I have a story I have to tell.
No.
Leroy Barrick told me that you came to Hutch one time, used to board your horses at the Barrick stables, I understand. And
Right.
he said you had a new Corvette, and you gave him a ride out Bear Lake Road to Lake Collingwood. You were going to look at some lake property. And Leroy said, I'm sure that I remained white as a ghost for at least an hour after that. Now, are you a car?
Well, I had 3 Corvettes, and finally I had the limited edition 1978 vet, and I had to clean the carburetor out one time, so I went the back roads. I was doing a promotion in St. Peter, and I took off, and I got going a little too fast, and it doesn't seem like you're going that fast in a Corvette. And they had called ahead for a roadblock to stop me, and then they had a backup car, and they thought I was a crook, whatever. So they pulled me over, and they went, "Oh, no, Lertz," and they wrote me up when I was wrong, and when I'm wrong, I don't argue about it.
Well, I'm sure that
But I did sell the car the next week. I said, "This is too fast."
And I know you would never encourage anyone, ever jeopardize themselves that way. Well, I know you love horses, and we mentioned you did board horses with Leroy and Darlene one time. Now, how about now? Do you still have horses?
Well, I have 3 horses that we have over at Canterbury. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, one ran yesterday, and it tripped coming out of the gate, and it took second, lost by half a length.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah.
What about F.A. Hudd? That was one of your Arabian...
What Hutter's doing right now, I'm not sure. Oh. We originally gave him the Camp Confidence. And
That's what I thought.
Then Leroy was nice enough to take him back and help Camp us out in other ways with more horses, and everybody came out ahead in the deal.
So you really are an old softy. You always are looking out after the kids.
Oh, yeah.
And, that was just great.
He loved the town of Hutchinson and enjoyed his trips. He always told me that times he came to Hutchinson were just highlights for him. Well, I certainly have enjoyed joining you today, and I hope you've had fun to go along with me. I'm going to let Bob wrap up the program, and he's going to relate advice he'd like to give to the young people out there, and even we could apply it to ourselves. So thank you so much for joining me on Out and About with Max today. If you enjoy this program, it would be fun if you would join me again, and I would look forward to it. This is Maxie Dingwall saying bye for now.
Just let's wind up our program, and I'd like you to say anything that you would like to pass along now to the kids. You've already given them a little pep talk, but...
Well, if you're going to compete in something, do it to the best of your ability. If somebody makes fun of you playing the violin or the piano, take that as a compliment, because if you're approaching the violin or the piano and you really enjoy it, somebody who makes fun of you has a void in his life. He wants to be able to be at your caliber and be able to be committed to doing one particular thing and doing it well. And I don't want kids to get down when somebody attacks them that way, because they're the ones that have the problem, not the person who's involved in playing the violin, piano, or sports, whatever it might be. And just give it your best shot, because there's only X amount of winners, but you're always a winner when you maximize your ability, no matter how far you step up that ladder of success.
That's fantastic. In other words, give 100%, and you have given your usual 100% to this radio show today. Bob Lertzman, I really love you. It's just been a real pleasure meeting you, and I hope we have a chance to see you again sometime.
Oh, I'm sure you will. And you tracked me down, and you're a very unique individual, and you really warm a person up. And I'm sure you come across that way in the community. So God bless you, and thank you for having me here, Max.
Enjoy you again, and I would look forward to it. I would look forward to it. It would be fun if you would join me again, and I would look forward to it. This is Maxie Dingwall saying bye for now.